Welcome, damn fool idealistic crusades, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And, all right.
Where'd everybody go?
One, two.
One, two.
Oh. Yes, for the first time in I don't know how long.
It's for the first time in forever.
Yes, it's just me and Mike, which is kind of freaking weird now.
Especially given the movie we're covering today.
Exactly. This is a big one. Now, we probably could have gotten somebody else to come on, but this was like literally, we skipped last week. Just scheduling and all that just made it crazy. And I had so much going on. It was I can't just do another thing. So we figured we were going to do 2 this week. And then today rolled around. I'm like, when are we recording? And so I asked Todd and Mike, and Todd unfortunately had a bang out last minute. He's a little under the weather. So get better, buddy.
Yep. Feel better.
We'll talk to you later. And I didn't have the time to ask Nick or Tom. Just be polite and give them some kind of notification. Julie, the gang.
Yeah.
So tonight we are going to, as you've already clicked the title card, you already know we are going to be discussing Star Wars, the original, which I believe it was the 1979 re-release that christened it Episode 4, A New Hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't a New Hope at the beginning. I just didn't know when it was christened that.
Right. No, it was pre-Empire. So I think what they did was in 79, they re-released it to theaters. And that's when they tagged that because they already had Episode 5 set up for Empire.
Right.
Because that's the life pre-VHS is so crazy for moviegoers. Because if you miss something on the big screen, it would come back. And stuff like Star Wars legit just stayed in theaters forever. I mean,
which made sense.
Movies didn't go away, which is funny when you think about it.
Well, I mean, there was no other way of viewing these movies at those times.
True. I mean, that's why. Do you remember the last time you actually had to wait in a super long line? And I'm not talking about like with the waits we had for the MCU movies and for the sequel trilogy, because those weren't really like we're waiting in line to get in. We were waiting in line to get there early for a premiere showing.
Right.
We weren't just, we just didn't have this wild hair in our ass that we're going to go wait in line for a movie. And if it took 4 hours, we were going to wait 4 hours. We were just going to get in and see it.
Yeah, we already had tickets in hand. We were just waiting.
Tickets in hand, it was just a matter of getting in. Exactly.
Yeah.
I legitimately think the last time I had to wait in a line hoping that we could get in was Return of the Jedi when we first saw it in 83.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that kind of experience.
I mean, I've had the disappointment of going to a movie to find out it was sold out. But
yeah, I've had that experience actually.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Star Wars, released in 1977. It goes without saying I saw this in the movie theater, and it is, without any sense of hyperbole, the movie that changed my life and made me the person I am today.
I would actually agree with that, except the only difference is I did not see it in theaters because I was -1 at the time.
Right, exactly. It came out almost exactly a year before you were born.
Yeah, I was. Damn it, by this much.
That much. And the funny thing is, too, is that, with clever marketing, that could have been released on May the 4th, and it wasn't. Could have gotten that trend started a lot earlier.
May the Force be with you wasn't a thing at the time.
Right, exactly. Because they thought this movie was going to bomb.
Oh, yeah. In fact, it was like sheer luck that it got made. It was by sheer luck that it got made at all.
It was. And it's one of these movies that, is it sacrilege to say that as much as I love the movie itself, sometimes listening to how the problems this movie had are actually more entertaining?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
No.
if you want like a unique aspect of it, check out the documentary Laddie, the Man Behind the Movies. It's all about Alan Ladd Jr. And basically, this movie he was the one executive at Fox that was willing to stick his neck out, say, let's give this guy George Lucas a chance. If it wasn't for him, nobody would have taken it.
Exactly. It was kind of like Alan Ladd got the money secured for the movie, but there's a lot of it's a very stringent production schedule. Lucas had never really done location shooting before. So
the desert is not a great place to start that.
Tunisia, there was a sandstorm.
Yeah.
Like on the first day of shooting in Tunisia. Same thing happened actually with episode. There was a sandstorm on day 1 and it destroyed a couple of the pod racers.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah. But it's the movie itself is so interesting. This is much like Jaws, a movie that was saved in the editing room.
Yeah, by
Walter Chew, Marshall Lucas.
Yeah.
And I think Walter Murch was the other. There were 3 editors on this. I think Walter Murch was the third. It was Walter Chew, Marshall Lucas. Can you please look this up and make me not look like such an idiot?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. But it's just that because the movie was overlong. And there's also another great documentary, which is available on Disney Plus called Empire of Dreams.
Such a good one.
The majority of this 2.5-hour documentary is about the making of episode 4. Mm-hmm. And it's just that Lucas just shot reels and reels and reels of film, and it was going nowhere. There's no good exposition. People were just talking, a lot of flat shots, and the team of editors. Did you find the name?
I did. Paul Hirsch, Marshall Lucas, and Richard Chew.
Richard Chew and Paul Hirsch. Okay, so I was wrong on the Walter account in either case.
Yeah.
They won an Oscar, by the way, for editing this movie. Well deserved. Because what they did was they just got to the meat of it. What do you want the scene to do? Here it is. Very snappy. If you go back and you watch it from a filmmaker standpoint, just count the edits. Just count the cuts. Especially in that Death Star.
Yeah, especially in the Battle of Yavin. I mean, there are so many just quick cuts to different shots that seamlessly. I mean, it shouldn't work, but it does. Yeah,
and it's the entire movie. The special effects are groundbreaking, and again, that was one of those things that, I mean, you were dealing with a bunch of filthy hippies in San Bernardino Valley. Showing up shirtless and shoeless every day to go make the spaceships collide, man. And what a masterful job they did, using a lot of, it was, most of the ships are built out of old model kits. Mm-hmm. They used a lot of shooting, which I thought was really cool. Like when you see like that explosion in the trench.
Yeah.
Death Star, that was just a drive-by with an explosion.
Oh yeah. I mean, another. I'm trying to think of how to say this. Oh yeah, the movie kind of feels like almost a cross between an independent film and a sci-fi epic.
It's interesting because first of all, it's not science fiction; it's science fantasy.
Fantasy, yes.
A big distinction there. If you look at how much money it cost to make this movie, I believe cost $10 million. In 1977, which doesn't sound like a lot now in terms of how much movies cost, but was a sizable amount in 1977. The special edition extras cost just as much.
Worth it or not?
Now, when you think about it, I mean, a lot of smaller films cost $10 million now to make.
Yeah,
and like the larger, bigger budget films are $200-300 million. And it's just, it is interesting, Mike. You're right about that. It does feel a bit like an independent movie. I mean, all the newcomers essentially are just getting their bones, and there's a lot of weird acting choices that he just lets them do because he is not an actor's director. Like Carrie, inconsistent British accent.
Yeah. The fact that Peter Cushing wore slippers for most of the time.
Well, that's just for comfort. I mean, he couldn't wear those jack boots, that long.
Yeah. I just find that funny.
Actually, what's really funny is watching them do scenes with David Prowse.
Oh yeah,
doing the voice of Darth Vader.
He's got a very He's got a very strong British accent too. A very strong British accent.
He does, and the choice to go to James Earl Jones made so much sense. In hindsight, in foresight, whatever, it had to have just been that. Even in the darkest timeline, it's still James Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader.
And there's one other thing that really saved this movie. Mr. John Williams.
Yes. I actually just listened to a really, really interesting podcast with our friends, Black Case Diaries, who just did a full retrospective of the music of John Williams. And it's a very loving tribute. But yeah, considering how science fiction was, how sci-fi movies and outer space movies were being done in the early to mid 1970s, mainly they try to get like those futuristic electronic scores.
What was that? What's that thing? That was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that Ed Woodsian kind of thing. But no, it was a lot of like Moog synthesizers and that kind of thing. And John Williams just brought like this just lush orchestral score with just iconic themes that have still stuck with us. Now, the interesting thing is that the Imperial March, which is, in my opinion, and you may disagree or you may agree with me, is the second most popular theme in any Star Wars movie, does not appear in Star Wars.
I'm assuming the behind the Rebel March, right? Or the number one that you're thinking of.
Number one is the theme.
Yeah.
Number one is just yeah.
Yeah.
That's hands down the most popular. But yeah, the Imperial March.
Yeah,
whenever anything bad happens, what is it? Dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yep.
So I was just remembering that scene from the movie Ted. Is that my ringtone? Wow, that sounds bad. No, honey, it's from The Notebook.
Not my favorite John Williams score, actually, but it's up there.
Really? What is your favorite John Williams score?
Jaws.
Okay.
Because
Jaws is definitely got some.
Because the score actually takes the plate, is a character in the movie. I mean,
right. Whereas as the score in Star Wars does set the mood.
Yeah.
It makes announcements.
Exactly.
So like, whenever you hear, when it does like those amazing wipes, and I, give them all the credit in the world that they kept the wipes throughout all the movies, because that is such a 70s thing as well. But like when they would show a Star Destroyer, or they would show the Death Star, anything Imperial, you get like that ba 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 ba.
Yeah, very like much darker tones.
Right, exactly. But it was definitely a proclamation that the bad guys were there.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then the scene, the Battle of Yavin, it's just so fast paced and just so desperate.
Yeah.
And it builds up that tension. I've seen Star Wars: A New Hope, no joke, about 300 times. I could recite it line for line, shot for shot. I hear one measure of music. I know exactly where it fits in the movie. But yeah, that score gets me every time.
Actually, speaking of shots, what is your do you just kind of out of the blue, what is your favorite shot from this movie?
Ooh.
I know mine without a doubt.
All right, I'm gonna have to think about mine. You say yours.
All right, mine is the first shot of Darth Vader. White walls, white stormtroopers, black figure just walking through. It's such a striking moment that it's just every time I see that, it's like, this is a brilliant shot.
It is a very good shot because, again, you're introducing your villain. It's just funny now in hindsight with them having added Rogue One.
Yeah.
You know, Vader just looking at the hallway with a couple of dead stormtroopers, just like, fucking amateurs.
How many guys did it take to take this guys out? Come on. I took these guys out in my sleep.
I see one of you dead on here. That's one too many. Wow, that's a really, I mean, there are quite a few really good shots. The one that's coming to mind right now is the shot of the Millennium Falcon as Han is coming to Luke's rescue. When you get the shot from behind and that one of the TIE fighters blows up, Vader turns, goes, what? And then they cut. And you hear, you see Han Solo with a yahoo! And they show the Millennium Falcon, and it's got like that angelic light behind it.
It's coming out of the sun, yeah.
Yeah.
With the star behind it, yeah. Good shot, good pick.
It's an amazing shot, especially considering how inflexible the piloting of those ships were with those early special effects.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you go back and you compare ship movement of the Millennium Falcon, we're just going to stick with the Millennium Falcon. Just the movement of the Millennium Falcon from episode 4 and then into episode 5. Very flat. You know, it can turn, but it doesn't do all the amazing things that it does, like in the asteroid scene where it can move to its side and it is just way more maneuverable.
And it does that huge, like, up and over and into the pit.
Yeah. Well, it's also that other scene too when they are going into an attack position.
Oh yeah,
with the executor?
Yeah. No, I think it was just a regular. Wait.
It was definitely one of the. It was one of the. I don't remember the name of the Star Destroyer, but it did like that thing where it did the full Yui.
Yeah.
But it kind of did it on its side, and that stuff you just didn't see. In what's that?
Might have been the Vindicator.
Okay. And you just didn't see that in Star Wars. You could see it kind of move front. You could see it move back. It's been a while since I've seen the unexpurgated version of it, so I don't remember if you actually see it lift off. I mean, in the special edition, they show it lift off, and it looks like
and take out of Mos Eisley, yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of see it, and then you see like the stormtrooper, like, oh, those were the droids.
Those were the droids I was looking for.
So let's talk about the cast a little bit. I mean, like I said before, you really are starting with 3 very unknown actors. I mean, the one with the most acting experience was Harrison Ford,
who had been in American Graffiti.
Yeah, he was Bob Falfa at American Graffiti. It's weird because if you think about what might have been, it's Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
and I can't picture that. Even like watching like his audition, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, he was destined for bigger and better, and that was essentially with his run of John Carpenter movies.
Yeah, he just didn't have the. Oddly enough, given that he played that he later played Snake Plissken, he doesn't really have the swagger for Han Solo.
No, and that's
not back then.
About Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is just he's your cocky space pirate.
Yep, with a heart of gold.
With a heart of gold and his enormous Wookiee sidekick.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like. That's what's great about Star Wars. I mean, all of the movies, but this one as well. Chewbacca and R2-D2 don't speak a single lick of English. You have, but you understand almost everything that they say.
Well, what's interesting is that because I'm going to come from that point of age and the fact that I have very, very vivid memories of when this movie was new and hot. And the fact is that the biggest breakout stars were the non-humans. So C-3PO and R2-D2 were the ones that would always show up for publicity events. They're the ones that got their footprints at Chinese theater.
Yep.
Chewbacca was another one, and Darth Vader.
Yeah,
those are the four characters that you never see their face. They captured the imagination more so than Han Solo, Luke, or Leia. Well,
I mean, for devil's advocate here, that's purely logistical because anyone can be in those costumes, basically.
True. That's very true. But it was also a thing too that they really captured the imagination. And Star Wars was marketed to children.
Yeah. 100%.
100% marketed to children. And it really stands out when you've got your villain all in black and you've got the funny robots and you've got the big ape creature. And the interesting thing is too, you really want to get into it like a weird piece of trivia. Han Solo's action figure was released in the second wave of Kenner Star Wars figures.
Okay.
He was not part of the early bird special promotion.
That's kind of weird.
It is weird. It is weird because I remember there was a time, and when I saw this movie, I was 5, and I have memories of going to see it, but for some reason, my brain didn't composite those memories, so I kind of feel like the second time I saw it, it was a completely different movie, and I enjoyed it more, but for some reason, I did not remember Han Solo at all in that movie. The first time I saw it. Second time I saw it, it was clear as day. It's like, okay, of course Han Solo was in this thing. What was I thinking? I'm 5.5 now.
Yes, you've gained wisdom with your age. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting because now we go back and we look at it and we're like, well, of course it made Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher huge stars, and it kind of didn't.
No.
Mark Hamill did get into that car accident, which put a severe hamper on his career.
Yeah.
Thank God for Star Wars bringing him back. But Carrie Fisher had her problems as well. And when you saw them in things, Carrie Fisher appeared in the Blues Brothers. I think that's her most prominent post-Star Wars role prior to Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I've seen Blues Brothers.
Yeah, she was the one that was chasing after John Belushi. The only time you see his eyes in that entire movie is because she's got a shotgun to him.
Cool.
Yeah. And then Alec Guinness, who talk about doing this as a favor for somebody.
Yeah.
The thing is that I never once got the impression watching his performance that he was completely above this, because apparently behind the scenes he was completely above this.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are numerous sources that say, and letters from him saying, I've got to be in this stupid sci-fi movie. I don't know what I'm doing. The director's got no talent, whatever. Yeah. And but all credit to him. When the camera's on him, he is there 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Same thing with Peter Cushing. Both of them very, very esteemed actors.
Yeah. Alec Guinness was actually nominated for an Oscar for this role.
Best supporting actor.
Best supporting actor, yeah. And it's just fun to go back and watch this movie and watch. It's very interesting. I just recently watched a video. It was released a few months ago. One of the guys I love on YouTube, Bob Chipman, did a really that good Star Wars. And what he did was he didn't take it from the grand scheme of everything. He took it from the time it came out. And we were going to look at it from that perspective as its own standalone movie that didn't spawn countless sequels and books and video games and the worst fans and filmed them.
Fair enough.
Just look at it. Just look at it from its cultural impact. Look at it from the influences that it took, and it's amazing. I mean, this movie is definitely a feat.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you go back and just watch it with almost a critical eye, the story-wise, it's not that groundbreaking. There's really nothing remarkable about that movie nowadays. It's just you really have to put it in its time and see what it's become in order to see. Okay, this was a groundbreaking movie, not because of what it is, but what it became.
And for somebody who lived through that and couldn't wait for merchandise to come out for this movie, and whatever something did come out, usually it's like one of those like shitty like iron-on decal T-shirts. Or that 3 washes and you're already sticking your finger through the silk screen.
Oh yeah.
Or these posters that were like, and I've been seeing them pop up on Facebook quite a bit. There are these posters that were released in like 78, like right around the time the Star Wars figures started coming out, and they're very, very artistic. Almost nothing to do with anything that happened in the movie, but they look good. And I remember getting the omnibus comic book. So it was the collective 4 issues of Star Wars 1 through 4 from Marvel Comics, not only put into one volume, but the book was huge. It was much bigger than a comic book. So it was great for my little hands. And have you read those?
No. Is that the one where the rabbit?
Well, the Space Rabbit didn't appear.
Okay.
In the first 4 issues. The first 4 issues are the story of Star Wars, but they're done. It's weird because they had like pieces of the script and they had some ideas what things looked like. You don't have Marvel Unlimited, do you?
Not anymore. It became unwieldy at that price.
Gotcha. It definitely is worth. If you can find the omnibus anywhere, just look at it, because the character designs are weird. They have these stupid inner monologues that are just like, thank God this isn't Dune, because Dune, they would have included all of those. But
actually, but I haven't read that, but I have read the manga version. About like maybe 15, 20 years ago. They released the original Star Wars, actually all 3 movies in manga form.
Yeah,
and it's actually really good. And the one panel that always comes out at me is really, really striking. Is after Alderaan gets blown up, it actually shows Princess Leia, and just shows like the emotional weight of she just lost her entire planet.
Yeah,
and I wish they'd done that in the movie, because the movie, there's really no emotional. I mean, how many tears did Luke shed over Owen and Beru?
Not as many as he did for the old homeless dude that he met in the desert like yesterday.
Yeah, I've only grown up with them. Oh no, they're dead. Well, let's go off an adventure now. Yay!
Well, yeah, it's weird, because I think character motivation is, I mean, you get Luke's character motivation. If this was a musical, he would have his "I Want" song as he's singing out to the binary sons of Tatooine.
Yeah, his I want to be where the people are.
Right, exactly. His Under the Sea.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very interesting because Princess Leia is, and all right. So real quick before I forget this point, did no script supervisor just let people know how names were pronounced? She is Leia and she is Leia in the same movie.
Well, I mean, you have Han and Han.
Han, yep, Han. I mean, Luke is Luke.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, Princess Leia is just, she's just the strong force that gets them from point A to point B. I mean, she's responsible for Luke getting off of Tatooine to go deliver the plans, ends up rescuing her, ends up in Yavin, becoming a hero.
Yeah.
Han Solo is just there for the ride.
Right.
He shows some spark of character growth, obviously, by saving Luke's skin, but it's not until Empire, which is the only one of the original trilogy that does not have a George Lucas screenwriting credit.
And it's apparently the one he hates.
It's apparent, it's funny too, because he's only got a story credit in that.
That's usually for the best, because he's a great story guy, great idea guy. Don't let him write the script. Don't let him write the script. Don't let him direct.
Yeah, and I mean, you could tell with having Lawrence Kasdan and Philip Kaufman anywhere near you is just always a good thing.
Philip Kaufman.
Philip Kaufman, I believe, helped. No. Philip Kaufman helped write Raiders. Sorry. Kasdan was the second and the preliminary writer for Empire.
Yeah, Kasdan and director. Why am I?
It was Lee Brackett was the other credited screenwriter for Empire.
No, I was thinking about the director.
Oh, Irvin Kershner.
Yeah, thank you, Kershner.
Yeah.
I hear Kasner, and I always remember Kasner, but never Kershner.
Right. And I always love listening to Irvin Kershner interviews. He's just like, there's a dude that just understands how blessed he was to be able to do this one awesome thing.
Wasn't he George Lucas's movie?
Yeah, he was a professor.
He's a professor.
I don't think it was UCLA. I think it was SoCal or something like that. It was or Caltech.
Yeah.
One of those. But yeah, no, it is. I mean, this movie is very interesting because if it were released today in the state that it is in right now, I don't know if it would have captured the general public's imagination. Again, because you're dealing with a lot of stuff, but because it's so groundbreaking in 1977.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the most part, I mean, I have vague memories of life pre-Star Wars. But for the most part, Star Wars has been a part of me my entire life.
It has literally been a part of me my entire life.
Literally been a part of your entire life.
Yep.
You just can't remember that time without it. And that's why this movie is it's so amazing in that it's there.
Yeah.
It's there and it's part of your DNA. There are very few movies, even some of your favorite movies, some of my favorite movies aren't part of my DNA the way that Star Wars is.
Yeah, I completely.
You love Jaws. I love Jaws. But is Jaws really part of your DNA, or is it just an amazing movie that you love?
It's a little part of my DNA.
Okay.
But no, Star Wars, I mean, if you look around my room, there is Star Wars all over the place. And it has always been in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do we really want to talk about this? Because let's take a look, shall we?
I mean, just show Darth Maul. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we got Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Over here. Yeah. So we got Darth Maul over there. Got one little scenes from Last Jedi there. Last Jedi, my 3rd favorite Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
We've got my signed copy of the vinyl Rogue One. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
I mean, hell, I got a picture of my wife and I as Han Solo and Leia from Hollywood Studios. I've got Funkos. I got tons and tons of Funkos. I have tons and tons of Star Wars figures. I even have, if you look over there, let me get that to focus.
Mm-hmm.
I have the widescreen THX VHS.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars.
Mm. I've got this wonderful Millennium Falcon popcorn bucket.
Oh, did you get that from Hollywood Studios?
Actually, I got it from Jonna.
Oh, okay. I also, by the way, have that there. It's kind of hard to see because I can't really bring the camera in much more than that.
Oh, yeah, the Lego.
My Lego Millennium Falcon.
Woo!
So, yeah, this is This is part of who I am. This movie is just, I mean, God's sakes, look what I'm wearing right now.
Yep.
The original poster. The original poster's on my chest right now. If tattooing had become legal in Massachusetts prior to me meeting my wife, I would no doubt have a Star Wars tattoo.
Really?
Yeah. Tattooing
was illegal?
Legal. It wasn't illegal, but you couldn't license to tattoo in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Until like late 1999, and that was around the time I met my wife. So 6 months, I could have had a rebel on one side, Imperial on the other. Boba Fett in here because I would totally do that because what is money?
Money is your kids in your house and your mortgage.
Exactly. Well, now it is. And that's the thing too, is that as for Star Wars, it's my children. It's something I can show my children. My children love Star Wars. Now, with having even stronger female characters, I mean, you got Princess Leia, who goes from princess to general, which kind of like that's the new rising up. That's the new power move. You move from royalty to authority. My daughter loves Rey. She loves Jyn Erso. She loves those characters because they exude. They don't exude helplessness. Neither did Princess Leia. I mean, lightsabers are awesome. We all love lightsabers. My son and I love dueling with our many lightsabers. We've seen your lightsaber before, Mike.
Right here.
But it's just something that. Oh, you got it right there. Oh, it's cute little case.
Yes, look at that. Look at that.
It's very nice. It's something that has stayed with me, and it is just because it's part of my DNA. Now it's a part of my kids' DNA, and it'll be part of their kids' DNA. And it's this amazing thing that just my love for it is always going to be there. There's never going to be that point where I'm just going to put my hands up and say, fuck Star Wars.
Yeah.
I promise you it will not happen because it means so much to me. And a lot of that is Star Wars my favorite movie. I use it as my favorite movie just because of what I just went over. It's not a movie. It's me.
Yeah.
I mean, Empire is an amazing movie. It's a better movie than Star Wars. The Last Jedi is a better movie than Star Wars, but it's not part of my DNA the way that either of those are. And this is coming from somebody who Empire Strikes Back is my goddamn Patronus. It's just the entire movie is just my Patronus.
Apparently, like Empire Strikes Back is one of the first movies that I ever actually saw. My parents took me to see the drive-in, and all I can remember is seeing Luke get his hand cut off and having the Wampa beat him up, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I was like probably 4 or 5 at the time. So
yeah. No, I remember being very excited. My dad took me to see the first 3 viewings of all 3 of the original Star Wars trilogy movies. And it's so much fun, especially now because with my son loving Star Wars, when he buys him Star Wars toys, it brings him back. And my dad's not even a Star Wars fan, but he remembers the joy that it brought me as a kid, especially in 1978 when I used to just go hog on the X-Wings and the TIE fighters and just any excuse for anything Star Wars branded. I had the Story of Star Wars, which was this 2-sided cassette tape. It was gold, and it had narration. And I didn't realize it until years later when I found it on YouTube that the audio was sped up. So the rights were kind of like they couldn't be held up at all.
I mean, another bit of interesting, if you ever, if you've got tons of money to spend on it, check out the Ralph McQuarrie art books. It's like a huge. I've got them right there. It's one of my prized Christmas gifts of the last 10 years, and just seeing he drew thousands of pieces of artwork to kind of conceptualize it and sell it to the studio, and a lot of that eventually came back into the Star Wars universe, either through the movies or through the TV shows. I mean, I was just watching an episode of Star Wars Rebels, and Zeb, the character of Zeb, is based on early McQuarrie artwork for Chewbacca.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting too, because you very rarely see conceptual art show up on screen, and it's really cool. I mean, I've got books on the props, like the Star Wars props. You gave me that great book. It's the storyboards from the original trilogy. Oh, yeah, and it's a wealth of just material. And the beauty is that this was coming in an age when, they were pulling the curtain back. They wanted you to know how the sausage was made. And it's an incredibly pleasurable experience. And, again, I can only gush about this movie so much before I start crying, that it is such an amazing movie. It
really is.
Because it's us, Yep. Well then, what are your thoughts on Star Wars, everybody? Are you a fan of A New Hope? We're just talking New Hope here. I don't want to see any of that Disney Star Wars crap in the comments. So please leave a civil comment below. What are your favorite things about Star Wars? When did you first see it in the movie theater? Or when was the first time you saw it, period? Because pre-special edition, most of y'all saw it on television.
I still got the unedited VHS out there somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm
talking like the one of the original 1980 releases.
Oh, okay, yeah, those I had those, and I got rid of them when I got the widescreen THX, because those are just beautiful. For VHS. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I've got the DVDs with the unedited original widescreen as bonus features.
I actually just have New Hope for that, because I actually don't mind the cosmetic changes that were made to Empire, because they were all purely cosmetic changes.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, and actually, the first time I saw A New Hope in the theater was the special edition. And I mean, say what you will about some of the changes, the enhancement of the Battle of Yavin, seeing that on the big screen is one of the most memorable movie-going experiences of my life.
It definitely is one of the better changes that was made.
Yeah.
Easily could have done without the Jabba stuff, but
yeah.
It's only there to repeat the same dialogue that was had 3 minutes earlier.
It really was.
Yeah.
And to have Boba Fett walk through and just look at the screen.
Hi. Yeah.
No. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Hello.
Tamara Morrison?
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, if you let us know your thoughts on Star Wars, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Every week, or pretty much every week, we review a new movie. We're doing 2 this week to make up the fact we didn't do one last week. Later this week, we're going to be doing Gremlins 2.
The new batch.
So... Which will be enjoyable. I gotta go back and rewatch that. I haven't watched that in a long time. Also, don't forget, you can follow us on the socials. We are primarily active on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio, but we also have Facebook presence at Geek Salad Podcast. You can check out all of our episodes at geeksalad.podbean.com, or you can listen to newer episodes right wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or even here on YouTube. The podcasts are back. Yay. And so we have new episodes coming out every 3 or 4 weeks. We're kind of working on our latest episode, which was recorded last week, about what we have been doing during our COVID quarantine. Mm-hmm. And we have some great episodes coming up this summer. And
actually, kind of tying in with our Star Wars episode today, right now, I am back in the old Republic MMORPG. So hit me up on Twitter at Gundam_Guyver if you want to friend me on there. Awesome. Also, we do have a merch store, so you can get t-shirts and other types of swag. Just go to tpublic.com. Use the search word Geek Salad Podcast,
and you can customize your shirts. We've got 3 different designs. We've got mugs. You name it, we've got it. So until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and may the force be with you. We'll talk to you later.
Live long and... No, wait, no, sorry.
Hey, wait.